The Vrexian cargo station hung in the void like a rusted crown, its metal spires jutting out toward the stars. Inside the main trading hub, merchants from a dozen species hawked their wares beneath flickering lights. The air smelled of ozone and exotic spices, a mixture that would make most humans gag, but seemed normal to everyone else. Commander Zekthor stood at the entrance to Holding Bay 7, his four arms crossed in a gesture of supreme annoyance. The Vrexian's carapace was a deep blue, almost black in the dim light, and his mandibles clicked with irritation. "I told you," he said to the Galactic Federation inspector beside him. "Nobody goes near that thing. It has already injured 3 handlers and killed one of my best security officers." The inspector, a slender Quillarian with silver skin, made a note on her datapad. "Yet you continue to keep it aboard this station?" "The owner paid in advance for 6 months of holding. The contract is binding." Zekthor's primary eyes narrowed. "Besides, where would we send it? No transport will take it. No facility will accept it. The creature is a menace." Behind the reinforced transparent barrier, the Terror-Hound paced. It was massive, easily the size of an earth bear, with midnight black fur that seemed to absorb light. 6 legs carried its muscular frame, each ending in claws that scored marks into the metal floor with every step. Its head was broad and flat, with rows of crystalline teeth that glinted when it snarled. 4 red eyes glowed with an intelligence that was deeply unsettling. The creature was a Kragoth Terror-Hound, bred on the war moon of Kragoth Prime specifically for one purpose: to kill. They were expensive, illegal in most systems, and absolutely unstoppable when given a target. This particular specimen had been confiscated from a smuggler 3 months ago. The smuggler was now serving time in a penal colony. The hound remained here, a problem nobody wanted to solve. "Has it eaten?" the inspector asked. "We throw food through the upper chute. Sometimes it eats, sometimes it doesn't." Zekthor shrugged with 2 of his arms. "Honestly, I think it is waiting for one of us to make a mistake so it can tear us apart." The inspector made another note. "I will recommend immediate euthanization. A creature this dangerous serves no purpose." "Agreed." Neither of them noticed the human approaching from the other end of the corridor. Sarah Chen carried a supply crate on one shoulder, her jumpsuit marked with the logo of an independent shipping company. She was unremarkable by human standards. Average height, dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, brown eyes that held a warmth most species found unusual. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community, having only made contact 15 years prior. They were considered friendly but odd, with bizarre social customs and an unsettling tendency to bond with anything that moved. She set the crate down and stretched, her vertebrae popping. The sound made Zekthor spin around, all 4 arms reaching for his sidearm. "Human! This area is restricted!" Sarah held up her hands. Sorry. I was just looking for Bay 6, got a delivery." She glanced at the transparent barrier, and her eyes widened. "Whoa! What is that?" "Dangerous," the inspector said sharply. "Please vacate this area immediately." But Sarah had already moved closer to the barrier. The Terror-Hound stopped pacing. Its 4 eyes locked onto her, and a growl rumbled from its chest like distant thunder. The sound was so low it vibrated the floor panels. "Fascinating," Sarah breathed. She pressed her hand against the barrier. "I have never seen anything like it." The hound's lips pulled back, revealing all of those crystalline teeth. Saliva dripped from its jaws, every muscle in its body tensed. "Human!" Zekthor's voice rose to a shout. "Step away from the barrier, now!" Sarah tilted her head, studying the creature. "It looks stressed. When was the last time it was exercised?" The inspector blinked. "Exercised? It is a killing machine, not a pet." "Everything needs exercise and enrichment. Even killing machines?" Sarah's voice was calm, almost conversational. "Look at how it is pacing. That is stereotypic behavior. It is bored and frustrated. The Terror-Hound slammed both front legs against the barrier. The transparent material flexed, but held. Sarah didn't flinch. Instead, she crouched down, bringing herself to eye level with the creature. "Hey there," she said softly. "You are having a bad day, aren't you?" Zekthor grabbed her shoulder with one hand. "You need to leave. That thing will kill you if given the chance." Sarah shrugged off his grip politely. "Can I go inside?" "Absolutely not." "Are you insane?" the inspector added. Sarah stood up and brushed dust off her knees. "I used to work at an animal rehabilitation center on Earth, before I started shipping cargo, I mean. We dealt with everything from traumatized dogs to rescued tigers. This creature is displaying classic signs of severe stress and lack of socialization." "It is not from Earth," Zekthor said, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "Your experience means nothing here." "Behavior is behavior." Sarah pulled out her datapad and made a quick scan of the holding bay information. 3 months in isolation with minimal interaction. No wonder it is aggressive. It is probably terrified. The Terror-Hound growled again, louder this time. It began pacing faster, its claws leaving deeper gouges in the floor. "Terrified? That creature fears nothing." The inspector's silver skin had gone pale. "I am calling security." "Wait." Sarah held up a hand. "Just give me 5 minutes. If I am wrong, you can haul me away, and I will pay whatever fine you want." Zekthor and the inspector exchanged glances. The Vrexian's mandibles clicked in thought. Finally, he gestured with one arm. "You may observe from out here, but if you attempt to enter that bay, I will have you arrested." Sarah nodded and turned back to the barrier. The Terror-Hound had stopped pacing and was staring at her intently. Those 4 red eyes seemed to glow brighter in the dim light. She sat down cross-legged on the floor, right in front of the barrier. The hound's ears, or what passed for ears, a set of ridged openings along the sides of its head, twitched. "You know what I think?" Sarah said, her voice quiet enough that only the creature could hear clearly. "I think you are lonely. I think you have been kept in cages and boxes your whole life, told you are a weapon, treated like a thing instead of a living being, and now you are stuck here with people who are afraid of you." The Terror-Hound's growl softened, becoming almost questioning. "I had a dog once, a rescue. People said he was vicious, that he would never be safe around humans. They wanted to put him down." Sarah smiled at the memory. "But he wasn't vicious. He was scared. He had been hurt and abandoned, and he didn't trust anyone. It took months, but eventually he let me close. He became the sweetest companion I ever had." She pressed both hands against the barrier. "I know you are not a dog. I know you are something completely different. But I also know that look in your eyes. You are not a mindless monster. You are aware. You are feeling. And you are scared." The Terror-Hound took a step closer, then another. Its breath fogged the transparent material between them. Zekthor's voice came from behind her, tight with tension. "Human, that is close enough." Sarah ignored him. She kept her eyes locked on the creatures. "If they let me in there, will you give me a chance? Will you let me try?" The hound tilted its massive head. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly it lowered itself to the ground. Not in a crouch ready to pounce, but in a resting position. Its tail, a thick, powerful thing covered in the same black fur, gave a single tentative wag. Sarah stood up and turned to face Zekthor and the inspector. Both of them looked like they had seen a ghost. "It just sat," the inspector whispered. "It has never done that before," Zekthor added, "because nobody has ever tried to communicate with it as anything other than a threat." Sarah crossed her arms. "Let me work with it. I can do this." "You will be killed." "Maybe. But I don't think so." Sarah's expression was determined. That creature is intelligent. It understands more than you think. And right now it is making a choice to trust me, even just a little. That means something. Zekthor's mandibles worked silently. Finally, he gestured to the control panel beside the bay entrance. If I allow this, and you die, your family will receive compensation. But I will not be held responsible. Deal. The inspector grabbed Sarah's arm. This is madness. I cannot permit. You are here to inspect, not to make policy decisions, Zekthor interrupted. This is my station. If the human wants to commit suicide, that is her choice. Sarah took a deep breath and walked to the bay entrance. The control panel blinked red, locked. Zekthor entered a code, and the light turned green. The door began to slide open with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Wait, Sarah said. She pulled off her jacket and tossed it aside, leaving her in just a tank top and cargo pants. No barriers. I wanted to see I am not hiding anything. The door finished opening. Beyond it, the Terror-Hound rose to its feet. The growl returned, but it was quieter now, more curious than threatening. Sarah stepped inside. The door sealed behind her with a final, definitive clang. The holding bay was larger than it looked from outside, roughly 15 meters across. The walls were scarred with claw marks and dents from previous outbursts. The air smelled like animal and metal and something else, something wild and alien. The Terror-Hound watched her from the far side of the bay. Its muscles were coiled, ready to spring, but it didn't move. Hey there, Sarah said again, her voice soft and steady. She crouched down, making herself smaller and less threatening. My name is Sarah. I am not here to hurt you. The hound's nostrils flared, taking in her scent. Its tail was rigid, not wagging now. This was the moment of truth. Sarah extended one hand, palm down, fingers relaxed. It was a universal gesture of non-aggression, something she had learned worked across species. I know you understand me. Maybe not the words, but the intent. I am a friend. Minutes passed. Sarah didn't move. She barely breathed. Outside the bay, she could imagine Zekthor and the inspector watching in horrified fascination. Then the Terror-Hound took a step forward. Another. It moved with predatory grace, each paw placed deliberately. Its head lowered, bringing those glowing red eyes level with hers. When it was close enough that Sarah could feel its breath on her skin, it stopped. The growl had ceased entirely. Now there was only silence, heavy and expectant. Sarah kept her hand extended. It is okay, she whispered. You are safe with me. The Terror-Hound's broad, flat nose touched her fingers. It sniffed once, twice, learning her scent. Then, incredibly, it pressed its massive head into her palm. Sarah's heart soared. She kept her movements slow and gentle as she began to stroke the creature's head. The fur was surprisingly soft beneath her fingers, like velvet over steel. She found the ridged openings that served as ears and carefully scratched around them. The Terror-Hound's eyes closed. A sound emerged from its chest. Not a growl, but something else. A rumble, almost like purring. There we go, Sarah murmured. That is nice, isn't it? When was the last time anyone touched you with kindness? The creature leaned into her touch, its enormous weight pressing against her. Sarah adjusted her position and used both hands now, scratching behind the ear ridges with her fingers. The purring sound grew louder. Outside the bay, Zekthor stared in disbelief. This is impossible. The inspector had dropped her data pad entirely. In all my years, I have never... Sarah continued her gentle ministrations, speaking softly to the Terror-Hound. You are not a monster. You are just misunderstood and lonely, so lonely. The creature opened one eye and looked at her. In that gaze, Sarah saw intelligence, emotion, and something else. relief. The relief of finally being treated as more than a weapon. She smiled and kept scratching those ears, and the terror-hound that had killed and maimed without hesitation simply melted under her touch, like any other creature starved for affection and connection. In that moment, Sarah Chen proved something the galaxy was still learning about humans, that their capacity for empathy and compassion wasn't limited by biology, appearance, or origin. They saw the being beneath the beast, every single time. And sometimes, that made all the difference.